In object-oriented programming, you always have a class from which you can create multiple objects. So when you define a class, which can be any class, example class car, you can create as many objects as you want, right? So you could create hundreds of objects. But what if you want a class that can only create one object? Is there a way to do that? Yes, there is, and that's a design pattern called Singleton. So how does this work? First you define a class, and the class can only have one instance. So in this case the default instance is 0 or is none, and this is the only instance that will exist. And using the class you can get the instance. So if Car.getInstance, it creates a new car, which is then returned. So create the constructor, which is the first method that's called. And if it's called, it shouldn't create new objects. So throw an exception. Okay, so now this is our whole class, and we created a method called getInstance, which returns the instance variable. So if we try to create a new car object, you'll see that works. Oh, it's the wrong program. Got a typo here. So I fixed the typo, which was just an underscore too many. If you run the program, you'll see it returns an object, and that's the object that exists. So if we try to create another object, you'll see it throws the error singleton. Well, there can only be one. So if you try to create more than one object, it throws the error saying it's a singleton, and there can only be one object, right? Now if we want to retrieve the object, we can say Car.getInstance, and that returns the object itself. So let me call this, object 2, and you'll see it's the same object. So it has the same memory address, it's the same object. So this class now only can have one instance, which is the instance underscore instance. And you can request it using getInstance. So whenever you want access to the object, you can call the method getInstance, and you have and you can use the object just as you normally would. So you could access the variables, you can access the methods. However, you cannot create another a new object. So if I say object 3 is car, you'll see it throws an error because there can only be one object. You'll see the error here. When we try to create a new object, that's not possible. So this design pattern is called a singleton, as I already wrote here, which means there can only be a single object for that class.